If you couldn't tell, Gavin, we love to make him mad.
He's gonna peek in 3, 2, 1. Sup?
What the heck?
Creep.
That's so creepy.
Ew.
I don't want to see up your nose.
I have no idea what's going on in our show that I'm supposed to be involved with.
Well, you'll see on Sunday.
Hey, you know when our show airs. Good job.
Thanks. Yay.
This week on Positively Godless, Scott is replaced for almost half of the episode.
Yeah, by the awesomest person alive ever.
I'm already here, Gavin.
By
He is so insufferable. He can't not be the center of attention.
Nope.
Is he always like that?
Yes.
Like, if nobody's paying attention to him, does he always do stuff like this?
Yes. He's a baby. That's He's back.
Oh, wow.
He says, "Let's just do the intro and try to make it funny."
The intro's still going, Jerry. You have to finish it.
What?
You have to finish it. You already started.
Hi.
Oh, well, how many times did Scott start? This week on Positively Godless.
This week on Positively Godless, I replaced my dad. So,
And we talk about our belief in the existence of God.
Yep. I talk about some people from my school and stuff. So that's fun.
Stuff that's fun.
Tune in.
Hope you enjoy.
Yeah.
This guy.
I'm your replacement.
Crazy! Over, under, feeling crazy! It was no wonder, you're just making me crazy! Okay, I'm ready. Sorry about that.
Oh my god, it's so hot in here.
Oh, it's because I finally came out of the call.
No, I've been like hot and I've been stuffy.
Are you going through menopause?
I think I am. I think it's menopause right now. I think that's what's going on. Hey everybody, welcome to this week's episode of Positively Godless.
Hey!
Hi.
I'm just Jerry, this week's host. I have Tyler Zoolander and Scott Lawrence with me. How you guys doing tonight?
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Yeah, usually we record on Thursday. But my stupid, idiotic, two-stroke having brain had something that was planned weeks ago and forgot.
Don't worry about it.
Until it was last minute. But hey, here we are.
That's your
Thank goodness for weekends.
No kidding. How's everybody? You guys have a good week?
I had off on Monday. First time ever.
Yeah, I got off on Monday too.
I got off on Tuesday. And
off
yesterday.
of work, Tyler.
Mm-hmm.
You're off Tuesday too, Jerry?
No, I said I got off on Tuesday.
Now who's the problem child?
You started it.
I didn't.
Don't.
In all fairness, I absolutely need no encouragement.
What do we want to start with? Gosh,
What do we want to start with?
I just got home. Everybody, was fighting traffic.
Hi, Gavin.
So Gavin already said hi to him. He's upstairs. So sorry. Good try though. Hi, Gavin.
Well,
I want to check our comments because we had a couple good ones. I didn't do show research today. People, I'm sorry.
You're fired.
Really? Today's Friday.
End of the month. It's the end of the month. I don't have to pay you starting after today, so you're fired.
What the heck? All right. Can anyone load up comments for me, please? Because
Loading up comments.
I can't seem to get to it. I don't want to alt tab.
Thank goodness I have 2 of my YouTube screen names subscribed to our show.
What episode is this? Is this 15?
We are 15 on. This is 15.
Is it? Where the heck is 14? Sorry.
14.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
It's the same place it was since Sunday.
Yeah, we already talked about Genesis, not the band.
Why do we have ads?
Because that's what makes us our...
Who's Beverly?
Who's Beverly?
Yeah, it's Beverly.
She's new. Beverly's new to us. I don't know how she came under our show. So Beverly, if you watch this episode, please let us know in the comments of where you found us.
How you found it.
Either it was from me advertising on other channels or something like that. She may be a part of one of the groups. See, I didn't use the word. You were waiting for me to too.
So proud of you.
You should be.
Brought a tear to my eye.
Oh, the W word.
Yeah. So I don't know where she came from, but fantastic comment. Talking about her life. She spent the last 40 years of her life as a Baptist, 40 wasted years. It devastated me when I came to the realization that there was no God and that the Bible was a book of tales written by men sitting around a campfire trying to explain what they saw around them. The last 17 years have been spent feeling like I'm finally free. So that's from our new fan, Beverly. So thank you for that.
Welcome to the club.
Yeah, and also she also did another comment, which I maybe should have read first, which was first time listening. Y'all, I love that. Y'all are very entertaining. Tyler, you look like when you take a drink of a beer, it looks like you're leaning over to Jerry to give him a smooch. I thought that was great. Do you have comments up, Jerry, or am I reading all these?
No, I have comments up.
Let's go to our friend Headcase. He's got
Headcase is mad at me.
Yeah, let's hit that. I think he's mad at you.
I read the entire comment, Headcase. But forgive me, because I don't remember what it says. But yeah, I don't think that we should live forever. Because he says here, I did leave a way out through fatal injury. So you can't die from sickness or disease, but you can die from fatal injury, which means if people don't die and we have to make room for new people, then we have to start killing old people. I mean, I don't want to start a fight with Headcase because I'm glad he's a fan of the show.
And Headcase has been just very, very, very kind
to
give us from day one, and he gives us pointers. Some we take, some we don't. Headcase, please continue to watch. Please continue to watch.
Don't let this little thing.
No, we love Headcase. He's just been such a diehard fan of our show, and I just appreciate his insight to our episodes. And I'm sure this episode may go a little long because we have so much to talk about today. A lot to talk about.
And I honestly, I can't wait to meet Headcase. I want to have him on.
Yeah, get a webcam.
Put a face to the name.
The one thing that I would like to say real quick before we dive into our topic is because Headcase actually left us 3 different comments, and the last of which was, quote, "There are 4 lights," quote, "Great reference there, Tyler. I got it the instant you said it. Winky face. I love you even more now."
I have no idea what you nerds are talking about. Which Star Wars movie was that mentioned in?
It was Star Trek, The Next Generation. Weren't you paying attention last week? Scott, Star Trek: The Next Generation was a TV show back in the 90s.
It debuted in 1987. The first episode was a double episode called Encountered Farpoint, wrapping up in 1994, which then culminated with a series of 4 motion pictures featuring the Next Generation cast. The last of which was in 2002.
Blah.
I'm sorry, I'm sorry, you nerds. In '98 through 2003, I was watching Dawson's Creek, so whatever.
Oh, I wish.
You know what the funny thing is?
I wish that was a lie. It's so true.
Here's the funny thing. That literally right before we came on, that had popped into my head. Now, I've never seen an episode of that show.
Of Dawson's?
Yes.
Oh, dude, I have the whole series on DVD.
That is absolutely okay. I have no interest in it.
Oh,
but
it's awesome.
As I was using the bathroom, I was looking on the back of the toilet. There's a book there that a friend of mine gave me. It's called The Cultural History of the Fart. It's all about the fart. And it was written by... Yeah, I know.
I was going to do that too.
It was written by somebody named... Well, on the book, it says the author was Jim Dawson. So then my brain, just being what it is, went to J.B. Dawson. And then it went to... That would be a good Wheel of Fortune puzzle. You know, like how they have that like same name or whatever, and it would be J.B. Dawson's Creek. There you go. That's it.
There's your
Wheel of Fortune is a television game show that
I know. I've had actually 2 people from my high school have been on there within this year.
Oh,
yeah.
That's the one
Columbia Heights represent.
Don't ever say that again. I want to embarrass myself.
That's when he embarrass himself. Yet he gets on this.
Right. That's very true.
So you guys ready to find out what the topic is?
I'm on the edge of my bar stool.
Oh, I'm ready too. So I thought you guys knew. Your spar stool.
Never heard of a spar stool.
So it's kind of
mixed bag, isn't it?
Yeah, kind of a mixed bag, but it's funny because that email that we're going to talk about ties right into what I wanted to talk about. Kind of, I don't know what to title it, so Tyler, maybe you can come up with something in editing, but I was at a party on Sunday with it's predominantly gay men at this party. And I was talking to somebody who I've known for the last 5 years, as long as I've known my husband. I knew prior to this conversation that this person is a religious person. I'd been to his house once because he had made dinner for a friend for their birthday, and all over the house there's statues and pictures, and he's older too. I remember what happened. We're sitting at my friend's house at the bar in the basement, and the topic came up, and he came out and he's asked me, "Are you an atheist?"
Was this another gay man?
Yes.
Okay, sorry.
And I wasn't blown away. I mean, you know, a question is a question, and I answered him honestly. I said, "Yes, I am." And he said, "Well, can I tell you a story?" "Certainly you can. You can tell me any story you want." He said, "I'm going to tell you this story, and this story is going to prove that God exists." Were his words. So I'm going to try to make the story short, but get to the whole point of it. And I don't know how long ago this was and when it was, but he had a friend who died. He went to his funeral. After he left the funeral, he went to another friend's house. She was on the phone with someone else. and they were talking, and they found out that he and the person that was on the phone, like on not at the house, but the other person, was at the same funeral. So they ended up talking on the phone, and he was told by the person on the phone that the man whose funeral it was had killed himself. He shot himself. He had previously didn't know how the man died. So then a year later, the man's daughter had called him and asked him a question out of the blue. He wasn't expecting it. And her question to him was, what do you think, or do you think that anybody that kills themselves truly burns in hell? Or something like that. You know, because we all know that the Bible teaches us that anybody who commits suicide is not going to go to heaven or whatever. He had responded to her that he doesn't know, that he would hope that God would have some mercy on somebody who did that, that they felt that terrible in life that they had to do that to whatever, make themselves feel better or whatever. So he believes the point of this, the point of him telling me this story is that he believes that it was revealed to him how this man died a year prior in order to be able to answer the question that the man's daughter had asked him a year later. He asked me to think about it. I don't know that I really thought about it since then, but in thinking about it or in pondering it, it doesn't prove to me at all that God exists or anything like that. So I just wanted to get your thoughts on this topic, and we can also delve into the email. What the heck? Hi, Gavin.
Hold on. Let me chastise him for a second.
Be nice to him.
I am recording this show, and I can't have you interrupting the thought process. You don't know what we go through thinking about things to making this the most professional show on the internet.
Can you hear him?
Yes.
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 I thought you muted them.
You're like I don't mute you. I'll call you in a minute.
Cheers, Gavin.
To come down.
Cheers.
Cheers.
All right.
Superman, cheers.
All right. Love you.
He wants to spend time with you. He hasn't seen you in however long.
I know. He hasn't seen me in 4 days. It's been the greatest 4 days of his life, apparently.
Yep.
See?
4 days.
Yeah.
Did he say yup?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm sorry.
So I
Jimmy.
just wanted to get your thoughts on this. Because here is someone who believes in God, not trying to convince me, but trying to telling me his story that he believes, that proves to him that God exists. He said, I don't believe in coincidences. He said it didn't happen by coincidence. He said this happened for a reason. That he believes that God set this all up in the end for him to be able to comfort the man's daughter. Scott, you wanted to say something.
That wouldn't convince me at all. Or, sure, it's a nice story, but there's no meat behind it. It's the same type of stories that we heard, and yes, we're going to segue into this email, which is kind of like the same thing. the pet dragon that I have in my garage that lives between our two cars, what it does during the winter, that heats our garage, it just breathes small amounts of fire. So it keeps our cars warm in the wintertime. And when I open the garage, I take the dragon out, and it goes to the bathroom. It comes back in. It's very, very well trained.
Okay,
you get what I'm saying.
I totally get your
and
point.
I'm saying that with such a straight face. But any person with any mindset would say that's dumb. Not saying that their claims to their proof of God is dumb. That's not what I'm saying. But to a non-believer like myself is like, that's absolutely ridiculous. Tyler's been to my house many times. I don't show him the dragon because it's just my dragon. Elsa has never seen a dragon.
That means you need some lithium.
So, I mean, that's kind of what I take off of it, and of the story. And I'm sure that this person has the best of intentions, and I'm sure that he means no harm. But
he's a man that I respect.
Have you known him for a long time?
5 years.
5 years. So he just came out to you in whatever room you were in and said, "Hey, you an atheist?"
I think there was a conversation going on that I wasn't part of, even though I was sitting right next to him, and because we're at a party, and I was sitting right next to him, but he was talking to somebody over here, and I was talking to somebody over here or here, and then it kind of just, so you have your separate conversations, and then they end up coming together at some point.
So when he asked you that question, did you maybe think to say like, yes, I am, facebook.com/positivelygodless, youtube.com/positivelygodless. If you have a comment.
No, because because I
I'm sorry, Jerry. I know where he was going with that.
P. Godless on Twitter and Gmail, or shoot. Sorry. That was non-intentional.
I know, Scott. You don't have to keep apologizing for it.
Positivelygodless@gmail.com. Okay, that's my flex. I forgot to get that out.
We're going to get you a card. Oh, wait. There's no need to have a card for you to hold up because it's at the end of the episode anyway. I didn't think, because I knew that like halfway through the story, I was like, okay, I have the topic for this week's show. So my question for you, Tyler, is you haven't been secretive about the fact that when you were a kid, up until you were 14 or 15 years old, you believed in some fashion. And so I think you believed probably for a little bit longer than me and Scott. So as someone that used to read the Bible, I mean, you said last week you read a good portion of the Bible, and someone who used to believe now doesn't, if someone told you that story or a story similar to that, would it make you kind of, I guess, question your non-belief or your atheism?
No, it wouldn't. It kind of goes back to the whole, I don't know, saying that it goes back to and my common sense kind of sounds degrading and not very positive, because it sounds like I'm saying that people who have Christians don't have common sense. But going back to the realistic, I hear so many times believers that will use, whether it is coincidences or other things that seem like they might link up together, but they really don't, to use as their justification for this is why I believe what it is that I believe, where there isn't any sort of hard, concrete evidence as far as it goes. And that's a whole part of belief in and of itself, is that having a belief is having the, you're believing in something that can't necessarily be proving. You believe that it is this way, but I don't have any concrete evidence. Mm. And you can point to certain things to try and back up your theory, which may or may not be rooted in truth or have truths or urban legends or whatever it may happen to be. But short of, I guess, witnessing something myself, I don't know what there is that I could see or hear that would convince me otherwise. That there actually is something and that there's something, a greater power at work. It's like, I would have to see the North Pole and Santa's workshop to believe in Santa.
Why do we always go back to Santa Claus? I told you Santa Claus is real. I'm kidding. So
he's the most well-known.
So you're pretty much set on the fact that there's no convincing you to believe again.
No. I have this great fear in my life that at some point as I get older, I will become more conservative in my viewpoints and go through some sort of life-altering change and suddenly find Jesus like my father did. And it's kind of one of those irrational, like, why do I even bother thinking about it? But it does, it's like one of those, because part of the thing too, and I don't think I've really gotten into it on the show, is that my dad grew up drinking and using drugs and questionable behavior and partying and playing music and staying out all night and just all this stuff. And eventually a switch kind of flipped inside of him and he went down this completely opposite path. Now, because he and I are at such odds with each other, I've never really gotten a straight answer, I guess, as to what ended up leading to it, other than finding Jesus. But it's one of those things that it's like, because all of that happened to him kind of right around the same point that I'm at in my life right now. Mm-hmm. And so I think about that a lot, or at least within the last few years, I've thought about that a lot more in that what would it be that would kind of have to make things snap in my head and make me start going the other direction. And to be quite honest, I can't think of anything. I cannot think of anything that would happen that would cause me to suddenly start believing. If that makes sense.
No, I get it. So something like what happened to me when I got sick and had the strokes and then ended up having the heart surgery and literally was facing death if it weren't for my husband saying, you need to go to the hospital. And I'd say he almost drugged me there, kicking and screaming. I remember when it happened, he put me on the phone with the doctor. The doctor said, you need to go to the hospital. And I said, I don't want to go to the emergency room. I don't want to sit there for 2 hours and wait. I just want to go to bed. But I could have died if he didn't make me go. So something like that wouldn't. I mean, I know it's hypothetical,
but it's not hypothetical in your
case.
case.
Right?
Did it make you believe that there was some sort? I mean,
during that time,
if it hadn't been for your husband's divine intervention, I mean, what? From a theist's perspective, that was God talking to your husband, saying that this needed to happen in order to save you.
From an atheist perception, it was God that almost killed me.
No, I get it, and again, I'm totally on your side. But yeah, I
well, let me ask.
If I were sorry, Scott, I didn't mean to interrupt there. But if I to just finish this train of thought, if I were to, if something were to happen, let's say, to one of the kids, just let's all pray that never happens.
Knock on wood.
Right? No,
that doesn't work either.
But anyway, if something were to happen to one of the kids, I wouldn't be shaking my fist in the sky at some invisible being up there. Just in the way that if something that seemed to be, because I've had a lot of instances where things have seemingly not been going very well, and all of a sudden there is a turn in fortune and things get better.
Mm-hmm. I think that's called life.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's life. Scott, I'm sorry. What?
No, it's funny. Gavin and I are having like this. Gavin and I got really deep on the way home today. Like really, really deep about just stuff in life, and I'm not going to go into details, but my question this is a perfect segue to the email that we're going to be talking about as well.
That's why I did it. I wanted to segue.
No, it's beautifully done, beautifully done. So you've had your 2 strokes, you had your heart surgery, and it came to that point where you're feeling better, things are looking up. Was there a time, and if there was, please tell me the time where you thought, maybe my husband's beliefs are correct? Okay.
No, I questioned. Through the process, I did question a lot of things.
Sure.
I remember talking to my aunt on the telephone, she was a nun for part of her life. She had left the convent, and I know that she believes in God, and I don't think that she's overly religious but I think she does go to church and all that. But I did say to her, I was like, who up there hates me so much that this could happen to me?
Wow.
The only that I questioned that, and I'm not gonna lie, I do take comfort in believing that my grandmother, my uncle, people in my life who have passed away are maybe somewhere, somehow around me, kind of combating the bad stuff and making good stuff happen. But that's probably as far as I get. For example, I see a butterfly and I say, oh, my grandmother's with me.
Mm-hmm.
If there's a butterfly flying around me, sometimes they just don't leave. And I equate that with my grandmother is watching over me. But yeah, I didn't question my non-belief. I didn't say, well, maybe I should start praying, or maybe I should start, reading the Bible, or, believing in God. I basically put my hands in, or my life in the hands of the medical professionals, because I didn't think that sitting in a hospital bed praying was going to get me better.
Oh. We're going to lead up to the email group, but I kind of want to apologize for a second, if I may.
For what?
To you.
About?
The people on our show know how this group came together through email forum.
Mm-hmm.
And I reached out to Jerry because they were talking about the gay marriage issue. And I said, hey, do you mind chiming on this? Here's a situation. I never once asked Jerry if he believed or disbelieved. And I want to apologize to you for that, because I just assumed
That I was an atheist?
Yeah, and I just when you're telling me that story, I'm like, gosh, we never had that conversation as friends. I mean, about belief and disbelief. So I just want to throw that out there.
Oh,
I didn't
okay.
mean to assume that, oh, he's gay, he must disbelieve, and that's just really wrong of me. I felt in my spirit to say that.
You've been reading the Bible.
Tyler knew where I was going with that.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the email today. But no, I do want to apologize for
My
that.
spirit. I can only imagine. I don't think I need to be told. I'm pretty sure I can draw my own conclusions about what you're referring to.
That's my segue.
Okay.
That was my segue. But no, I actually do want to
yeah.
apologize for that, because I feel bad that I just assumed.
No, you don't have to.
Okay.
Stop being so hyperly sensitive.
I'm very sensitive.
Think you're on your period or something.
I am.
I was going to say it, but you beat me to
it. I'm spotting right now.
Oh.
That's not called your period.
What is that called?
I don't want to put it out there on the internet because people don't need to know.
Oh, that's my wife to look at it. We have a conversation.
Yeah, you could take that over, Scott. And
I don't want to take your show over. If you
no, it's not. No, it's fine. It's I know, because this is something that you really wanted to talk about, and so I'm going to give you. I think it tied into my question of, because it's still on the topic of. Mm-hmm. This is another story that somebody presents to us that says, here's your proof that God exists. So let's talk about it.
Yeah, let's. Oh shoot! I wanted to do a quick shout out to our friend Doug, who's in our emo group, who gave us a really beautiful review on our episode from last week. I don't have time to read the whole review, but it was just great. So I just want to say,
is it in email?
Yes, it's in our email.
Was it to our positivelygodless@gmail.com email?
No,
it was in the group email.
In the group email.
Okay, I must have missed it then.
Do you want to tackle that if you want to? I don't know. What is so funny?
Nothing. Nothing at all.
So you keep saying that he's going to be down here and be part of. What is he going to be part of, and when?
Actually, you know what? You have questions for Gavin about what you just talked about? I want to bring him on for a second. And what I want you to do is that you talked about a friend of yours. You can't mention names because they're minors. Hang on. You guys talk about yourself. I need to do some disclaimer stuff for him.
Okay.
He got a haircut. He looks so dapper.
He looks so thumbs up.
Ladies and gentlemen, my son Gavin.
Scott, how did you end up with such a good-looking son?
His mother is beautiful.
I have to
Nice.
attribute.
That's true. His mom's gorgeous.
Well, he didn't hear the question, so that's why he didn't know.
Okay, here you go.
So, Gavin, the reason
loud.
That's because your dad is deaf. He has to have it turned up all the way.
Yeah.
So the reason that he said that your mother was beautiful is because I asked him how he ended up with such a good-looking son. Because, you look at him, you know what he looks like. So...
Okay, so this is about my friend. No names, of course, but... so in my school, I am in a very Christian school. Like, not like a religious school or anything. No, not a Catholic school, but like a lot of the people believe in God, which I don't really have a problem with. But my friend here is he was a Christian. I had nothing to do with this, but I think he's like starting to turn a bit atheist, which I'm surprised about, because he was kind of like, why do you believe what you believe, when I told him. So I was kind of surprised with that, and I told him why, and that was the end of conversation. But today he was thinking, like, he was quiet for a long time, which is not like him at all. But so yeah, he was quiet for a long time, and I was like, what's wrong with you? And he was like, I was just thinking, what are the chances that there's going to be some magical being in the sky that can snap their fingers and say, let there be life? And so I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. I didn't really care. I didn't want to like say, ha, you're like, I was right, or I don't want to do that. I mean, that's just kind of mean. So I just left it at that. And then like he was talking at my table, which like don't believe in God and stuff, which cool, whatever. I don't really, we don't talk about that. So that's really the end of story. Really nothing else.
Okay, so, but you didn't say anything back to him when he asked you the question of what are the chances?
Well, really, I just kind of like agreed with him, like, yeah, good point. So that's basically it. I didn't want to say, ha, I was right all along. I'm not gonna do that.
Let me ask you this. What is it that makes you not believe in God?
Just kind of the same thing as him. I mean, I used to believe, but like not like really hardcore. I'd never really thought about it, but I thought, I mean, come on, what are the, like, some bearded guy in the sky can let there be life, and then two people will appear on Earth. And then I've noticed like when Dad speaks, that he says that they use a lot of excuses. No offense to anyone out there listening, but like they say every creation needs a creator, but then I thought, who created God?
That's a good question.
So
you never found the answer to that.
That is a very good question that if you ask any creationist what their opinion of that is, well, there was no creator of God because he just was. But then they have a problem with something, say, like the Big Bang Theory.
Yeah.
And because non-believers or atheists or those that believe in the Big Bang Theory can't, say, well, where did all of that come from to actually create the Big Bang? It's along the same lines, and it's a back and forth that will never get answered. To tie it into our topic of what we're talking about tonight, can you think of any circumstance that would have to present itself to you in order for you to believe? Like,
God landing on my car.
Perfect. That is the best That's the best answer that any of the three of us have given.
I wouldn't have come up with that. Not at all. The reason we asked is because I had a friend tell me over the weekend that he had a story that would prove to me that God existed.
Mm-hmm.
And the story was that he was at a funeral. He left the funeral and went to a friend's house. When he got to his friend's house, she was on the phone with someone who happened to be at the same funeral. And then he got on the phone with that other person. She told him how the guy died. He shot himself.
Ooh. Is that true?
And, well, I mean, I don't know because I wasn't there, but this is
okay,
this is what he told me. But he said that a year after he found out, like a year after the funeral or so, the guy who died, his daughter called my friend and asked him if what happens to people who kill themselves. Because I'm not sure if you're aware, but in the Bible, it's a sin to kill yourself. And if you do, you won't go to heaven.
I actually didn't know that.
Oh, okay. Well, you learned something here on Positively Godless.
Yay! Educational!
Hopefully other people do. But he tried to present that story to me as it wasn't coincidence that he learned how the man died. He wholly believes that he learned how the man died in order to prepare him to answer the question of the man's daughter a year later. So it had the same reaction. I mean, it didn't prove to me at all that God exists. And, I don't know if you know, but I don't have a wife, I have a husband.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And my husband believes in God and he goes to church and all that. But it's still, I mean, like, I just don't know. I could never connect. How old are you?
11.
11. So right when I was about your age.
Your birthday.
Mm-hmm.
When's your birthday? Oh, your birthday's this weekend, isn't it?
Yeah. Monday.
Monday. Well, happy early birthday.
Thanks.
And you'll be 12.
Yay.
It'll be tomorrow by the time that this comes out.
Okay.
Yes. So yeah, it was right about the time I was your age that I started to form the opinion. Now, I went to public school like you do, and my stepmom and my grandmother took me to CCD, and I made my communion and my confirmation. And I've been to church many times. I just couldn't connect with that whole belief. Not saying it's bad for people to
I know.
believe. Okay. So
I will probably I will say that the moment that my belief started wavering in God and Jesus and all of that, I mean, just everything encompassed, started around... It started at pretty much exactly the same time that I found out about the big guy, Jerry. I'm sorry, Santa Claus. I know he doesn't want to hear it. Jerry doesn't want to hear it. And Gavin, I know you're old enough at this point. I'm not going to.
I know.
I should have warned if there's any young children listening, earmuffs. But in any case, no, it all started unraveling. And yes, I did continue going to church, and I went through confirmation as well, and all of that kind of stuff, because my mom wanted me to. And I guess that I would even still say that while I mean, because when I was first, I still remember this D-bag kid. I was in first grade, all right? was in first grade, and this D-bag kid, Chris, comes into school one day, and just to everybody in the class, well, you guys know that Santa's just your parents, right? I mean, think about it, because, you know, like, how could one guy go around the world in one night and blah, 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 you know, and I mean, just it in the middle of class, and there's like 25 other first graders going, no! But, you know, so even at that point, when I found out about that, like, I still wanted to believe, like, I you know, you go through the stages of shock, and you know, you're in denial, and then, you know, like, and like, I'm like, no, he's gay, still gotta be, you know, and eventually you kind of come to grips with it. And so, you know, then the same thing happens with everything else, and so the Tooth Fairy and the Easter Bunny, and I mean, all this stuff, and it just slowly unravels, and eventually, it's gonna get to God. Because, you know, it's just another story that's been told, maybe not as long as I mean, it's been told longer. The stories have been told longer, so it's more deeply rooted in the culture. But, you know, Santa Claus, after having, you know, been around for a really long time, is still that easy to shatter, you know, in the eyes of a child. And so it still took me a fair amount of time after that to really, I guess, come to grips with it and realize, because again, I grew up, Gavin, kind of like you, I grew up, I mean, I wasn't way up north, but I was in a suburb that was very heavily Christian, and everybody that I knew went to church. You know, I didn't know it, or let me put it this way. If I knew any atheists growing up, I didn't know that they actually were atheists. Because everybody was either a Christian and you saw them at church every week, or they didn't talk about it. And so then you wouldn't really know what they are. And, you know, if they weren't going to church every week, that's those people that don't go to church. So there's a certain amount of peer pressure that goes along with it as well. And so, you know, I mean, the thing was, me getting into like 7th, 8th grade, whatever, when I was going to get confirmed through the church, I remember having the conversation with my mom, and she was like, I don't really care what you do. I want you to get confirmed through the church, and then after that, if you want to continue to go, great, and if you don't, I understand. And that's where it kind of left it. But it had been, you know, questioned for a long time, and it was tough. So,
well, yeah, in my school, I kind of my teacher in my grade actually talked about the Bible once, and I was like, no, you shouldn't be doing that. Don't assume everybody's Christian in the school. And that kind of got me a bit mad. I didn't say anything, but I was like, really? Really? Blank. But yeah, it just kind of sucked, to be honest. And in my table too, there is a lot of video game stuff because I'm a huge gamer and stuff. It's fun. It's gonna be really fun next year because I might be moving to a different school district, which will be fun. A different school,
I'm a huge gamer too.
Oh,
I
really?
was playing. I was playing Mario Kart earlier.
Oh, no! Don't start! Don't start!
I was waiting for that.
Mario. No. I'm taking over.
Scott, things are going so much better without you.
Shut up! I can hear what you're saying.
Is it that loud, that headset?
Yes.
Wow. What did he say?
You can he can hear your Jersey accent from all the way over there by the.
I'll tell him what he can do with his ears at my Jersey accent, because I'm not from New Jersey. I'm from Philadelphia.
He's from Philadelphia, not Jersey.
Tell him I said read between the lines.
What?
Tell him if he wants the show back, he has to come back over here.
If you want the show back, you're gonna have to share it with me.
Yeah.
Classic example
Gavin,
of telephone.
just, Gavin, just look straight at him and do this.
What?
Yeah, that's what's happening. We've veered way off course.
Smooth now?
Yep. Have fun.
Turn the camera this way.
Yep.
No. All the way over. You can't see me.
Looks like a church organ back there.
Okay.
Waiting.
There we go.
Well, you're both out of this shot now.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah, because you only have like this much of the shot when the show airs. So
Okay.
that's why I like it, because it makes me look skinny. I'd say unplug the headset, but it makes that horrible beeping noise.
That is very
Dad
true.
wants the show back.
Okay. Well, it was nice talking to you, Gavin.
Yeah, nice to talk to you too.
Thanks, Gavin. I'll see
Thank
you
you.
tomorrow.
Yep.
Thank you. Oh. Hello. How'd that go?
Way
was
better
lovely.
than the first 40 minutes went.
What a great kid.
Yeah, how did you end up with someone so great?
I am so blessed. Anyway,
You're blessed.
you know,
Who blessed you?
maybe
Our Lord and Savior.
Mhm. Yeah.
Craig Christ.
So do you want to talk about this email?
Yeah, hold on, my phone's here. So it goes back to the cartoon that I sent, or whatever. It's called a meme. I don't know what you kids call it. Where it says, "I swear, if anybody thanks God after this, I'm going to put the tumor back in."
It was a picture of a surgeon and
Yeah.
his assistant operating on somebody,
Yeah.
and it said that. When did you
Right.
send that? I don't remember that. Was that on the Facebook page?
No. That's in the email. I put that when I put my
Your response. to
my-
it. All right. So let's talk about the email. How many of you recall Texas Governor Perry publicly praying for rain just over 4 years ago? The state was experiencing a major drought then, and the governor thought that praying for rain might help. Well, it took 4 years, but his prayers were answered, and far beyond what he might have hoped for. I wonder if any of those who were praying with him then have made the connection. Be careful what you pray for.
That's from our friend Doug. So this is what started the email.
The whole, because of the floods in Texas and
Yes. So
people have died.
our guest that we had on, Paul Ridgway, he's a part of our email group. If you know from whatever episode he was on, I think episode 7, I think.
Mhm. Yeah, because episode 8 was the recap, and it was the worst episode ever.
Thank you.
No, it was a joke, because we said that for like the whole episode.
Way to throw Tyler under the bus because that was his episode. Anyway, way to give Jerry a kiss there, Beverly. Just so you know that. So our friend Paul gave us an email, and we're going to dive into this more in future episodes because this is such a hot topic. Where he kind of talked about he had a miracle according to his doctors, and he went in because he had 2 blocked, one fully, one almost blocked artery, and then his doctors put him on a diet regimen and then went to the hospital or another doctor. I can't remember which. I'm just kind of paraphrasing because we're very short on time. And then all of a sudden his arteries are just like a teenager's arteries were completely unblocked. And that's a miracle from God. There's some missing links here that, all of us, I think, addressed.
One of the things that it seemed...
Yes, we did.
It seemed almost like divine intervention that Jerry was planning his topic for tonight, and then we got this email today, and, I mean, if it wasn't an act of God, because normally we record on Thursdays, but this week we're recording on a Friday, and Paul sent out that email on a Friday.
Yeah.
And so if we would have normally recorded on a Thursday and talked about this stuff last night, then none of this would have happened, because then the email would have happened after the episode did. It's all in the divine plan.
God is good. God is good. God is great. Praise you. God is good.
Thank you for this.
For making Positively Godless a really good episode.
This is the kind of stuff. And this is where we really want it. We wanted to get into it a lot deeper tonight, but I think that it warrants a much deeper discussion. And quite frankly, after getting into it, getting into a little more of just kind of backgrounds and stuff with Stephanie, right?
Yes.
I would love to dive into this topic as well next week.
Okay.
But with things going the way that they did tonight, choo-choo, way off the tracks. We had a
on half of the episode, so
right. No, we had a fantastic surprise guest, and I would rather keep all of that in and cut this portion a little bit short. Needless to say, after Paul had sent his email this morning, there were responses from first Scott, then myself, then Jerry, and then our friend Nate. And all of us were obviously on the same page, but still coming from slightly different angles, trying to keep it as positive as possible. But there's a lot to digest there, and I want to get more into that. And who knows, there may be more responses by the time that we record next week's episode.
So basically, in a nutshell, he's praising God and not the doctors, which personally I find very offensive since my wife is a nurse and works in the medical field. I just take offense to that when people do that.
And Jerry, not to spoil too much from your email, but you had also brought up things that you talked about earlier in this episode with what happened to you and all of the medical professionals that did all of the work that they needed to save you.
Yes.
Yeah.
My cat just peed, and it smells so bad.
Back up.
He's fine.
Final thoughts, aside from your cat peeing? I'm not going to get into the final thoughts. I want Gavin to get into final thoughts. Since he was on the majority of the episode this week. So I'm going to hand you over to Gavin to do the final thoughts.
Well, my final thoughts. Be kind to people.
That's my line.
Okay, Scott.
That's my final. Be nice to people. You know what? Stop. Seriously. People, you can believe whatever you want. It doesn't make you right. It doesn't make us wrong, and vice versa. We don't know because we're alive here in reality.
Inside of a glass globe on a head.
Yeah, say. Oh, you broke my.
I broke it.
You did that. You snatched it off your head when I started talking about the galaxy inside of the glass globe on the cat's collar.
It was Satan that did that. Sit down. Sit down now. Sit your butt down. and finish the show.
My dad is very nice to me.
Finish your show. I'm gonna beat you.
Hey.
I would never.
I'm back.
I never did.
Gavin, we're gonna do.
Okay, final thoughts.
Yes, we're gonna do final thoughts, but before we do that, I have a couple of quick questions for you.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever seen The Matrix?
Oh, Christ.
No, my mom says I can't watch it
Okay,
because my
have
great
you-
grandma said that it'll inspire people to do dangerous tricks and flips, and it's weird.
I think that's probably one of the least of the worries that you have to worry. Anyway, have you ever seen Men in Black?
Men in Black.
Yes, I have.
Okay, all right. So you know, at the end of Men in Black, the
Which
very number
The first
one,
one.
Okay.
the very end of Men in Black number 1, the first one. At the very end of the
Alien.
movie,
Yeah.
yeah, but at the very end, everything all sort of zooms out, and it turns out that our universe that we're in is actually just a little, tiny little thing on a cat's collar.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yep, because it all zooms out, and then but really, we're just a part of this little teeny tiny universe that's on a cat's neck.
Kill myself.
Okay, have fun.
Don't you think maybe it's possible?
Kind of, yeah. That makes sense.
Right?
I mean, like in video games, yes, I'm going with video game logic.
Sure.
But like I've watched this show on YouTube called Game Theorists. I don't think you've heard of it, but like the link timeline is wrong. It's really like a multiverse thing where like there's different universes and stuff because it like in the middle it kind of splits off into 3 different like paths. So he explained that a multiverse could be like in a giant like field of universes in like little bubbles and stuff.
Coexisting, but on different planes of reality.
Exactly.
Yep. Oh,
And,
I'm
like-
totally
like-
familiar.
There's a different universe for every decision you make.
Yep. Also talked about in Star Trek: The Next Generation. There you go, head case. Had to give the plug. It was that episode where Worf got lost in the timelines. I think it was called Parallels. And then for every point, there's an infinite number of possibilities. And then Geordi was talking about it. And don't worry about it, Gavin. Head case will understand what I'm talking about. Anyway.
I have a secret.
What?
I've never watched a single episode of Star Trek.
Oh, you're
Well,
fine.
it happened before you were born anyway. So
Yeah, that's
I
true.
wouldn't- You can't fault him for not watching something that ended before he was born.
Gavin, final thoughts?
Be nice to other religions. That's all I really have to say.
Perfect. My final thought tonight is that short of...
Go away. Not you. You're fine. You're fine.
No, I know. We know.
That
He is
weirdo over there.
insufferable.
Insufferable doesn't even begin to describe it.
Hence, why is he playing an instrument in the background? He's trying to pull
Yes.
focus away from his
Shut
son.
up.
He coked to be on the show.
Yeah, it's true. I really don't believe that there's anything that could happen in the rest of my time here that could convince me of something supernatural above this plane of existence that we're on. If that were to happen, well, I will be sitting right there as the first person to admit that I was wrong. But ultimately, it goes back to many of the previous discussions that we've had in terms of if the God of the Bible actually exists, and the rules and the views of the Bible and everything else that have been imparted to us over the last 2,000 years are 100% true, then I would rather spend my eternity in hell than going to some heaven that is as racist and misogynistic and just blatantly offensive as what is described in the Bible. So, I'm going to leave it at that. We've covered that part of it before. I'm not even going to dive back into it. But, Jerry, your wrap-up?
If God does exist, I'm going to put it out there now that when I die, I don't want to go to heaven. I want to come back as a lion.
What?
Or a tiger.
Lions, tigers, and bears don't lie.
But preferably a liger.
I've seen that movie. But preferably
a liger.
Oh yeah, lion and tiger.
If I can't have one, I want to be one.
I thought you were going to say Mariah Carey's thong.
Oh, I'm surprised you didn't put my lip syncing in last week's episode.
There's always a chance for the blooper reel.
Was it last week? Oh, yeah. Last week...
we're getting
Tyler
played out
Scott
here.
They walked away for something. Like, they froze. Like, the internet connection was bad. And your dad and Tyler froze on my screen. And I couldn't hear what they were saying, and I couldn't see what they were doing. And then the next thing, the internet connection picked back up, and they were gone. Like, there was nothing there. I was just looking at two empty screens. So I decided that I was going to play Mariah Carey's new song, or not Mariah Carey's new song, but one from... But I played a Mariah Carey song and I started lip syncing to it. It was kind of funny, and I thought it was going to make the show as like a blooper reel, but it didn't. So too late to put it in now. You don't have to put it in just to.
You should do like an episode that is just all like bloopers sometime. Like, oh really?
Yeah, we're planning that.
Oh, cool.
See, look, one of our fans is asking for it.
Yeah.
When's the last full episode that you watched, Gavin?
1 through 6.
Okay. So you're not that far behind.
Yeah, I'm gonna have 13 hours of video to watch.
Because you're not planning on watching till episode 19?
Oh.
That is still less amount of time than I have combing through all the footage for bloopers. So... consider yourself lucky.
I feel bad for you.
All right. Good night, guys.
Bye.
Thank you for watching Positively Godless. Look at the links below or in the screen or wherever they are. And talk to us. Bye. Stupid. What?
That was awful.
It's still recording.
That's
Gavin,
perfect. That whole thing is going in as the intro.
Perfect. Ask him how Positively Godless can be reached.
Through Facebook at facebook.com/positivelygodless.
Yes!
From what's up for episode 5? I remembered it.
Where else? Ask him to say it.
Come on, there's four of them.
Positively Godless.
Positively Godless at
Gmail.
yes.
Twitter.com/positivelygodless. Positivelygodless/Tinder. I
Slash dinner.
don't know. Tinder? What's Tinder?
Tinder? You don't teach him about Tinder. That's gross. The reason I asked you to ask him is because he can
Grindr?
never say it. Ever.
Huh?
Facebook got that.
See?
Every time.
Shut up. All right.
No, they're my friends now.
No, I don't think so.
Smashing.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I really don't think so. How am I? I'm fine, thank you. I had a deep conversation. Oh,
Who's there?
What's up?
Gavin!
you'll be on later. You'll be on later. I'll call you when we're ready to do this.
Does he know that we always say hi to him before you do?
He stopped what? No. Do you know that we always say hi to you? That they always say hi to you before I get a chance to do that? Hold on. Stand by the mic for a second. Look at my 50-year-old child.
Did you say your 50-year-old child?
Wearing short. Come over this way. They can't see you.
What is he wearing?
He's got black socks on with shorts, like a 50-year-old man mowing the lawn.